quick intro. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Brampton FBLC's Leader Voice series, an initiative where we sit down with pioneers in business innovation and leadership to explore their journeys, challenges, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. Our today's speaker is Trae Vond Wood. Trae Vond Wood has a master's in business administration, specializing in human resources management, a graduate with a passion for inspiring others. He's a hardworking and amiable person dedicated to young minds on the world of business. He has experience in leadership as a supervisor at a fitness facility and experience in communicating effectively, both orally, in writing, as a student for recruiter for CPA Ontario. This experience has given him the ability to develop and deliver presentations, the ability to gather data, compile information, and prepare reports progress, ability to work effectively with diverse populations, ability to develop, plan, and implement short and long-range goals, skills in the configuration and use of computerized database programs, and the knowledge of student recruitment and retention issues. So today we're going to learn more about public speaking and the power of soft skills in the business world and what CPA Ontario is and what it can do for business students. Let's give it up for our career development specialist, facilitator, and public speaker, Trae Vond Wood.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
Jaitra.
first, yes. Okay, so first I will ask a couple of questions just so we can get to know a bit about your background, and then we'll go in more into some depth about soft skills and how those play a role into professional development, networking in the business world. Starting off with, can you tell us a bit about your background and how you got into this field?
Yeah, so I just want to first start off. I don't know if you made a little bit of a mistake there, but I have a bachelor's degree, not a master's degree. Hopefully, I can get one in the future in business administration, but I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, specializing in human resources from Trent University. And when I graduated from university, I wasn't 100% sure on what I wanted to do. And I thought I would take the safe route and find something that was in my field, which is human resources. I stumbled across a job posting for a career development specialist role before it was known as student recruiter at CP Ontario. And I was not sure what this job would entail, but I figured I would keep an open mind and see what it's about because, again, I wanted that experience there in whatever it might be. So taking that chance and applying was probably one of the best decisions that I made because I was able to strengthen and develop new skills. I was able to challenge myself and take on things that would otherwise bring me outside of my comfort zone. It wouldn't be things I would regularly do on a daily basis. So I was fortunate enough to connect with so many great people, whether it be CPA industry professionals, teachers, and of course, students like yourselves. I think the most satisfying part of my job was feeling like I made a true impact, like I made a difference in the students that I've met. When I do these CPA presentations, they leave a long-lasting impression on them, and that's what brings me joy. Throughout my 3 years of working there, I was also able to develop more confidence in my speaking ability and was able to expand in my career by starting up a freelance public speaking business on the side, where I facilitate and host skill building workshops for students to help them strengthen on those important soft skills, which we'll be discussing further today. And I know specifically Jaitra and I were able to connect because he asked me to be a part of one of the FBLA or FBLC conferences, the LinkedIn Masterclass, where I was able to develop and facilitate one of those workshops, talking about networking and the importance of resume and cover letter building. So that was a great opportunity to connect with the students there. So I love what I do.
Yeah, definitely. I completely remember the part where we connected through the LinkedIn masterclass and how you were able to teach like a lot of students about the skills of networking and how that played a factor into like how you like output your voice across a lot of young minds. And also I do apologize for saying bachelor's instead of master's.
No worries. I just didn't want to, if this was going off, I didn't want it to give the wrong impression that I have a master's because the master's is very difficult and challenging to get. So I didn't want to take the credit for that just yet. Hopefully that's something in the future I try to pursue, but as of right now, it's just a regular bachelor's.
Okay. So our next question is, in your opinion, what are the most important soft skills for success in business today? And many students focus heavily on technical knowledge. Why is it equally important to develop these soft skills in the daily life?
Well, when people think about success in business, they often imagine someone who's super smart or knows a lot about technology. And while that's important, soft skills like communication, collaboration, and problem solving are just as critical. Also, those are a few of the soft skills that make up a component of a successful CPA. Students always get so caught up in thinking the technical skills are the only thing employers are caring about, but they don't realize that you have to have a little bit of a balance and be versatile in all areas. Think about it this way. You could be so great at auditing or creating balance sheets, but if you can't properly explain yourself, you're not able to explain your ideas or work well with others or even be able to handle feedback, it's going to be hard for you to succeed. Soft skills are what helps you connect with people, helps you build trust, and lead effectively as well. In business, relationships matter a lot. Whether you're pitching an idea, working on a team project, or dealing with a tough situation, your ability to stay calm, listen, and respond thoughtfully can make all the difference. I always get this question a lot when I do presentations, my CPA presentations, and students always ask if accounting is going to be overtaken by AI. And I love answering that question because what I tell them is no, accounting is never going to truly be taken by AI because AI can't replicate those human life skills that CPAs possess. So while you're learning all the technical stuff in school, don't forget to also practice those transferable skills like speaking confidently and clearly, being a good teammate and collaborating with others, and managing your time effectively. These skills might not show up on a test, but they'll show up in real life and they're going to help you stand out and lead as well.
Wow, that's a phenomenal answer. And I definitely agree on the part where you mentioned that many people think AI will replace accounting. And I definitely think that counting isn't something that can be easily replaced, especially in our world where soft skills are much valued and much sought out for, especially from someone like you who's CPA and someone who would want to be a CPA in the future to have hope in that AI won't take up their job. And so yeah, soft skills are like thing that would be of complete importance now, before, and forever. So, my next question is, what advice would you give to students who struggle with confidence or communication, and how do you think that they can improve in this?
So if you're struggling with confidence or communication, you're definitely not alone. So I want to start off there. A lot of people feel nervous speaking up or sharing their ideas, especially in front of others. I know that was something I heavily struggled with when I was in high school and even in university as well. And even when I first started my job, it would feel overwhelming, intimidating because you're essentially afraid of saying the wrong thing. I know that's what a lot of people, that's their number one fear they have is they don't want to mess up or embarrass themselves or say the one thing. But the good news is that confidence is something that you can build, just like any other skill. So you want to start small, speak in a group of friends, ask questions in class, or practice networking skills by introducing yourself to someone new. Every time you do something that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, you're going to grow and learn from that. And the more practice you do at it, the easier it gets. Also, remember that communication isn't about being perfect. I remember, again, this was one of the things that I always got caught up on, where I had to strategically think on what I had to say, or everything that I had to say had to be perfect and crystal clear. It's really all about being clear and about being yourself, being your authentic self. So, people connect with honesty and effort, not flawless speeches. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you're going to learn and grow from it. And finally, surround yourself with people who will truly support you. Confidence grows faster when you're in a positive environment. And if you believe in your voice, it matters more than you think.
Wow, yeah, definitely. I completely agree in the part where you don't need to be perfect to be able to deliver a perfect speech. You just need to be yourself. And authenticity always triumphs perfectionism. That's the thing that a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of people also need to get better at. So, our next question is, what is CPA Ontario, and what kind of support or programs does it offer for students?
All right, so this is where I'm gonna go into my CPA mode now, my career development specialist role within CPA Ontario, and take you on a little journey. So, for those who are not familiar with CPA Ontario, we are a self-regulated organization as set out in the Charter of Professional Accountants of Ontario Acts 2017. Our main objective as a non-for-profit organization is that we must ensure CPAs meet the highest standards in learning competence and professional conduct. And if you're looking for ways to stay connected with CPA Ontario, we have plenty of programs and events that you can participate in where you can develop those important soft skills that we're just talking about today. And you'll also get the opportunity to network and connect with some interesting industry professionals. We have a program called the High School Ambassador Program, or HAP for short. And some of you may have heard of this program before, but for those who haven't, it's a free extracurricular program that offers exclusive virtual workshops covering a variety of different financial literacy topics, like how to use a credit card, goal setting, and investing for the future. And we also cover a variety of different soft skill topics like public speaking, conflict resolution, and how to network and build your personal brand. We also do major in-person conferences. So we do one in downtown called No Limits. A lot of you have probably heard of this event or been to this event before in the past, but this is where it's a major business conference where you get to act like a little professional, a little CPA professional for a day. You get to dress up, go to downtown at the Metro Convention Center and meet these amazing CPA role models and learn from them and get inspired by them. You'll be able to hear from keynote speakers as well and participate in different workshops and activities and really build those networking skills. So I'll talk a little bit more about that after when these questions are done, just to give you a little bit more about what HAP is and give you a chance to all sign up for this amazing free extracurricular program as well.
Thanks for giving us a glimpse on CPA Ontario and what it has to offer. And I definitely look forward to the presentation you have planned out for us later. So, our next question is, how can students explore whether the CPA designation is right for them?
Well, first, we have plenty of information on our website that I could give a brief overview on what the designation is and possible career paths it can do for you if you want to decide to work as a CPA. We also do info sessions as well, where me and my colleagues will break down what the benefits are on getting the CPA, why it's so valuable in today's business world, and explain the pathway to actually obtain it. So, talking about what prerequisites you're going to need to take when you're in post-secondary and essentially what the CPA program is going to look like for you when you graduate post-secondary, you enter into the program. Um, but I also do career coaching. So if anyone is interested in exploring more about the CP designation and whether it's right for them, then we can definitely set up a virtual one-on-one info session where I can go in depth about the value of it. Because I know a lot of you all are probably done school now, so you're not going to get a chance to hear the presentation. Probably some of you have probably heard me come into your class or speak virtually on it because we usually do it during the school year, during class time. But because it's approaching summertime now and a lot of you are off, you might not get that opportunity to listen into that presentation if you haven't already in school. So definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you are interested in pursuing that CP designation or you want to know more information about it, you're not entirely sure if this career path is for you, I could definitely kind of help put you a little bit at ease and explain what the CP designation can do for you.
Yeah, definitely. So, anyone listening to this podcast, please feel free to connect with Trae Vond Wood on LinkedIn so you can get to know more about the CPA designation. So, our next question is, what are some misconceptions students might have about the CPA path or accounting in general in terms of their future?
Yeah, so some common misconceptions or stereotypes that I hear a lot from students when I do these CPA info sessions is that they assume accounting is a rigid job with not a lot of flexibility, and it's essentially all about number crunching or auditing all day. Now, don't get me wrong, there are those traditional accounting roles out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But becoming a CPA is far more than that. You don't have to restrict yourself or put yourself in a box. You really have that flexibility to pursue any career path that you decide to choose. You don't have to limit yourself. We have CPAs that work in sports, in entertainment, and even work in law enforcement as well, fighting money laundering. One of the best things I love to do when I'm talking to students about the CP designation when I do the presentation is the storytelling. I always try to bring personal stories and career paths that different CPAs have taken to really highlight the flexibility of what this designation can do for you. So I talk about CPAs that are entrepreneurs and are able to be change makers and create products that are beneficial to their community. I talk about CPAs that are able to work on their project management skills and rebuild schools in different countries. I talk about CPAs that fight money laundering, as I just noticed, because I know there's a lot of those drug shows like that a lot of students watch, like Power or Breaking Bad or Ozark, and they're CPAs that are basically real life superheroes, and they're using this designation to put criminals behind bars. So really, you can use this designation to pursue any idea or passion and turn it into a successful business. There are plenty of routes and different career options to choose from, and there's really no limit to what you can do with your CP designation.
Yeah, I love how the variability of the CPA designation opens a lot of paths for students who might just have the misconception that accounting is just something like number crunching, as you mentioned. And it kind of gives students hope that there might be other options available for them if they do choose to actually carry forward with the CPA path. So thanks a lot for bringing that up, especially in terms of the misconceptions and the pathways or possible pathways that CPA can provide you. So our next question is, what is one of the biggest challenges you faced in your career, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so that's a great question there. It took me a while to really think on that because I really had to reflect on just kind of the hurdles I had to overcome, even in my high school days or in my work days as well. But I would say one of the biggest challenges I faced is ironically being challenged. So what I mean by this is being afraid of change and doing things outside of my comfort zone. In my role as a career development specialist, I am constantly trying to come up with new ideas how we can engage with students. And some of these initiatives I am not used to or find very scary because it's outside of my comfort zone. I'll give you an example. So we had our No Limits conference this past April, and usually it's in person, but for the first time we decided to add in a virtual component. So I was given the opportunity to be the master of ceremony, so the MC of that virtual portion of the conference. And I was both excited, but because I was given more opportunities to practice my public speaking. But on the other side, I was really nervous and riddled with anxiety because this was something that I've not done before and it was really outside of my comfort zone. The previous year, I emceed the in-person conference, and that was still a little bit nerve-wracking, but it was a little bit easier because I could see everyone there. It was around 200 students and teachers, but I could see everyone there. But when I had to do it virtually, it was just me in a room and a giant camera. So I felt like one of those sports broadcasters or news broadcasters, and I was just talking to everybody in the world. I didn't know how they were thinking of me. I didn't know what their facial reactions would be. I just saw the camera. So that was really uncomfortable, really nerve-wracking at first. And this event was streaming to over 700 students across Ontario. So you can imagine that it was a lot of pressure not to mess up. And remember, I was talking about one of the things, one of the fears that people have when they're speaking up is they're afraid of messing up. So that was my whole thing going into it. But the way I was able to overcome this challenge was by simply shifting my mindset, looking at it from a perspective of, yes, this may be scary and intimidating, but it's also the opportunity that was given to me. And I just had to make the best of it and make it a learning experience. So I use that mindset for any situation where I ever feel challenged or uncomfortable or doing something that may seem scary. I look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow, and it could build my credibility and reputation as well.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. Like being challenged, there's many ways in which one person can be challenged, and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations allows you to grow. And like you know what they say, like diamonds are made under pressure. So obviously you need to be able to seek out those opportunities that make you feel uncomfortable, and eventually you'll be able to go past your boundaries, and what initially felt uncomfortable will now feel comfortable. So yeah, I definitely agree. And I think we can all make an analogy to some aspects of our life that mimic these same types of examples that you mentioned. So, next question is, what's the toughest part of developing soft skills, and how can students stay consistent with improving them?
Yeah, so I would say one of the toughest parts about developing these essential soft skills is they don't come with a clear checklist or a final exam. You can't just study for it for a week and say, okay, I've mastered communication or I've mastered public speaking. These skills like listening, empathy, resiliency, leadership, or time management, they take time, practice, and patience. And honestly, it could feel awkward at first. You might try to speak up more in class and stumble over your words. I know that was something, again, I struggled with when I was in school, or you might try to be a better team player or leader and still run into conflict and not know how to manage conflict effectively. And that's totally normal. The key to it all is to essentially keep going. The best way to stay consistent is to treat soft skills like a daily habit. So just like how you do any other daily tasks like brushing your teeth or checking your phone, make time to practice. If you want to practice your public speaking skills, set a personal goal to ask at least one question in class each day or take the initiative to volunteer to go first for your class presentations. I know this was a huge pet peeve of mine when I was in high school where I didn't want to be that person to raise their hand first. And I would probably just wait for the teacher to pick my name out of a hat. I don't know if that happened to a lot of you all, but over time, especially when I got into university, I really wanted to challenge myself and make an effort to try to step out of my comfort zone because I knew going up first for presentations was a little bit scary for me. So when I reached university, I was always the first to raise my hand and say, you know what, I'll go first. It's better to just get it out the way. And if you think about it, you're kind of setting the tone there when you go first. Because if you knock it out of the park and you deliver such a great presentation, that next person to follow suit, they're going to be very intimidated by that. So you can kind of hold your head high on that one.
Yeah,
And I would say don't forget to always have that growth mindset as well. And I mentioned with my situation, overcoming challenges. But every time you step out of your comfort zone, just a little bit, you're building those skills and it'll help you for the rest of your life as well.
yeah, I definitely agree. Working on discipline and ensuring that you're staying consistent with your soft skills is a habit we all need to develop, as anything that's tough requires time to master. And that includes soft skills. It could be sports, it could be soft skills. But if you want to get better at soft skills, consistency is key. And I completely agree with. Second last question, I believe. So, what's one soft skill that you're working on and developing today?
Yeah, so one soft skill that I am continuously working on is building resiliency. And I think that is a very important soft skill to master, especially when you're going into the business world, because not all the time things are going to go exactly your way. You're going to be dealing with setbacks and you want to be able to grow from it and develop your confidence in yourself. And this was something I was definitely struggle with and had to accept and try to overcome. And it's being able to not lose sight of your confidence and being able to take the courage to expand yourself and being able to take on new opportunities or seek out new adventures to better yourself as well. So I mentioned earlier that I started a freelance public speaking business on the side where I conducted those soft skills workshop for students. And I went ahead and tried to do all of these things to get traction, like making connections on who I can meet or creating a website to establish my brand and market my product. And sometimes I feel like it's an ongoing uphill battle because I would have dry spells where I would get no speaking engagements to come my way, or that I'm feeling like I'm doing something wrong because I would get rejected trying to put myself out there on bigger platforms like TED Talks. And it's hard not to take it personal or feeling like it's just probably easier just to give up because it's too hard or you're negatively self-talking yourself. But building that resiliency allows you to push through things even when things get hard. And you'll be able to develop that resiliency and toughness there. So I would say resiliency is definitely one of the things I'm continuously working on.
Yeah, resiliency is a great tool to have, especially when you're trying to overcome hardship or you're experiencing hardship. And I think a strong sense of self-belief also plays a role in improving your ability to overcome hardship. As if you believe in yourself, only then will you be able to continue. And if you believe in a vision and want to actually succeed in that vision and you're resilient, you'll definitely succeed in it. So that's where you always need to make sure that you're resilient and you have a strong self-belief. And yeah, now for our last question of the podcast, if you could go back and give your high school self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, I loved getting this question because I felt thus far I've grown so much in my adulthood and I'm a completely different person from when I was in high school. So, one piece of advice I'd be able to give my younger self is having that courage to step out of your comfort zone and be different and not be afraid of what others may think. When I was in high school, I was social, but also shy in the sense where I'd like to play it safe. I would not want to do anything that drew attention to myself because I'd be afraid of what others may think. I always had that fear and anxiety going on in my head of if I do this, am I embarrassing myself? Or that's not cool, or people are probably going to think it's lame. And when I had that mindset, I passed up on so many opportunities because I'd feel that they were out of the norm for me or too uncomfortable or outside of my comfort zone. My fear of trying new things consumed me, and it led me to just having a normal but boring high school experience. My high school experience wasn't necessarily bad, but I know it could have been better because I look back and I have quite a few regrets on opportunities I've passed up because I had that fear of what others may think of me. And it wasn't until later in my adult life is when I started to have that courage to try new things and to take on opportunities, even if they seem scary to me. I would say have the courage to do something that would make you feel uncomfortable. Yes, it may seem scary in the moment, but afterwards, you're going to have that sense of rush and adrenaline. And that's the feeling of excitement that you accomplish something new that you set your mind to. So, yeah, that's what I would say is the biggest advice I could give anyone is take full opportunity of your whole high school life. Anyone that's going on to post-secondary, take full advantage of those 4 years there. Do not just take it as you're going to school just to get your 4 year degree and you're out. Take advantage of those 4 years. Get involved within the community that's at your post-secondary. Attend clubs or different events like we have just like how I'm talking about the HAT program, we have one for post-secondary students called the Post-Secondary Ambassador Program, where you still get to stay involved with us, but you also get to connect with other university students that are business like-minded as well. So it's a great way to work on your networking, and it's a great way to put yourself out there and to take yourself out of that comfort zone. And even if you don't want to look at it as self-development, look at it as a way as you're developing a reputation for yourself and credibility to put on your resume. Because a lot of employers are looking for those extracurriculars and those soft skills. And the way to do that is by joining these clubs or extracurriculars that are going on. So don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and to try something new.
Yeah, that's a great and phenomenal response, especially for our last question. As I completely agree, you shouldn't care about what others think and just go and do it. And I think all of us high schoolers need to like get that into our heads that it's not something like anybody's watching you. You just need to go and do it because nobody's gonna care anyways later on. So do it for yourself, if not for anyone else. And I think that's the best advice that you could give any high schooler, that always put yourself in situations where you are growing, regardless of what anyone thinks. And only then will you be able to actually become a better person overall. And don't miss out on opportunities that could potentially make you a better person and help you grow as a person just because someone else said that it's not good or just because someone else doesn't like it. So, yeah, I completely agree. And I think we can all connect to that. So, seeing as we've gotten all our responses and all of them have probably given us a great idea on um how being a good communicator benefits you in the real world and how exactly you could even be a good communicator. I think that brings us to an end for today's podcast for Brampton FBLC's Leader Voice Series. But before we end off, we will have a short presentation from Trae Vond regarding CPA Ontario and some details about it. So if Trae Vond, you would like to share your screen, that would be great.
So I'll just share now. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you see the part where it says connect with CPAs? So,
Yep.
okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we have this free program called the High School Ambassador Program. Anyone that have not heard about it already, as I said, this is a great way to build your resume. So as I talked about the importance of building those soft skills and putting on extracurriculars on your resumes for those post-secondary applications or even to stand out to employers, it's a great program to be in. When you join this program, you'll be able to network with CPAs. So I talked about that No Limits conference. You'll be able to participate in conferences like those. We even have employer events as well, where students get to go to big firms like KPMG and BDO and be able to basically walk a day in the life as a CPA, which is very exciting to students. I've always gotten a lot of positive feedback by them. You'll also be able to take part in exclusive workshops and competitions that we have. And as I said, develop those essential soft skills and financial literacy skills there. And that's the main reason why we wanted to create this program is because we're finding that more and more employers, as well as those post-secondary applications, looking for students to develop skills like collaboration, communication, problem solving, analytical capabilities, and resiliency, the biggest one that I'm still working on to this day. So it's a great way to step outside your comfort zones and to try something new. And it's great experience to put on your resume as well. So these are just some ways that you can get involved within our program. So as I said, we have our No Limits conference that you can always participate in, and we have different networking opportunities where you can participate in employer events as well as post-secondary institutions events. But if you just want to attend virtually, you can attend our virtual workshops where I host those skill building workshops I talked about, and also our financial literacy workshops where we get CPAs to run those workshops and to talk to you about how to properly use a credit card or goal setting or how to save for the future as well. So these are just one of our competitions that we have going on. We're going to be opening up again next year because we just closed it off now. So it's called our CPA Showcase Video Competition. And this year our theme was entrepreneurship. So students really got to flex their entrepreneurship skills and really got to, again, step outside their comfort zones and create a video with a partner. You can work collaboratively and come up with an innovative business plan to CPAs that solve that market need. And if you were to come in first place, and you can win up to $1,000. So we're going to be running this competition again next year. So you'll have the opportunity to work on those critical thinking and those problem solving skills and collaboration skills as well. So for our financial literacy workshops, we have four in total, and they all run from 4 to 5. Obviously, the days are going to be switched next year. These just passed, but every workshop that you participate in, you can receive a certificate of participation that you can put on your resumes as professional development, or you can put on your LinkedIn profiles as well as professional development as well. And like I said, I run these skill building workshops. So if you want to increase your conflict management skills or your public speaking, that's probably one of my favorite workshops I like to do because I love giving those tips and tricks and sharing my experiences on public speaking and trying to help bring students outside of their comfort zone and try to overcome that fear as well. And also developing a proper resume and cover letter and how to present yourself in a professional way in an interview. Like the financial literacy workshops, you can receive a certificate of participation that you can put on your resumes and LinkedIn as professional development. So if you want to connect with me, if you have any further questions about the CPA pathway, about developing soft skills, or you just want to connect and have a coffee chat, I always and try to be friendly, warm, and inviting. I always try to do those one-on-one coffee chats virtually and try to give students some advice because I know a lot of students have reached out to me if they are nervous about going to post-secondary or they're in post-secondary and they're wondering, okay, what's next for me out in the career path? How do I navigate there? How do I build on those networking skills? I'm always happy to share some insight and some personal experiences to try to help your journey become a little bit more smoother. So my LinkedIn is there at Trae Vond Wood. You can connect with me there or by email, you can connect with me at twood@cpaontario.ca. But we're just going to leave this QR code here for a little bit so you guys can scan it. I highly, highly suggest anyone that's tuning in today to participate in this workshop. You're really not losing anything out of it. It's completely free. You have the option to either join one workshop or event, or you can join all of them as well. You can pick and choose what resonates with you, what works for you, and what you think is gonna bring that professional development to you as well. But yeah, that wraps it up for me. So I hope you all take part in this amazing program.
Yeah, thank you so much, Trae Vond Wood, for giving us some insights on what CPA Ontario is, what it has to offer. And I think it's like a great opportunity not only for post-secondary students, but also for high schoolers and how they can navigate their journey. And especially how you mentioned that you'd be a great support to them and anyone could connect with you through LinkedIn or shoot you an email if they want to ever, if they ever have any concerns about post-secondary school or getting a career pathway, and you'd be much more than willing to help out. And I think that just speaks volumes of CPA Ontario and the resources it has to provide towards everyone who is willing to harness those resources to be able to become more successful and a more well-rounded person. So that brings us to an end of today's episode of Brampton FBLC's Leader Voice series. We'd like to extend, firstly, a huge thank you to our keynote speaker, Trae Vond Wood, for sharing your journey, insights, and passion for leadership and human connection. Your dedication to improving and empowering young minds, combined with your hands-on experience in both business and education, is a true inspiration for us all.
Thank you, Jaitra, for having me take part in this, and hopefully I was able to inspire young minds. And yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much, Trae Vond Wood, and we hope to see you again on Brampton FBLC's Leader Voice series.
thank you so much, Jaitra.